Wouldn't it be great if you could just learn a structure to help you write the different parts of your Task 2 exams? Thankfully, that's what I'm going to show you today. Today, I'm going to show you a structure you can use for the conclusions of multiple courses and multiple solution essays. It's going to make your writing so much easier. You just need to learn the initial structure. I'm going to show you 3 simple steps of how to fill out this structure with the ideas that you've already created in your essay. And by doing this, you're going to be able to actually write a conclusion, be super confident that by the end of it, the grammar and the language and the structure of it is going to be really accurate and just what an examiner needs for a Task 2 essay. Not only that, by the end of this, you're going to know what to include, what not to include in your essays. So you're not going to be wasting your time and you're going to be doing exactly what is needed in the exam. Hey everyone, my name's Phil. I'm the head trainer at One-to-One IELTS. I have over a decade of helping students get the scores that they need for the IELTS exam. I've worked with the British Council, I've been an IELTS examiner, and today I'm going to help you improve your writing. Let's jump into the lesson. Let's see what the structure is. Let's see how we fill it out. And we're going to go step by step in a really simple, clear way so you have no question about how to write conclusions for this type of essay ever again. So the purpose of a conclusion in an IELTS essay is simply that we're going to summarize our main ideas and restate our opinion. That's all you have to do. Do not add any new information. We don't need future predictions. We don't need to paraphrase the question statement again. We're just summarizing our main ideas. And if we have an opinion, we're going to restate it. For other types of essays, if you're not writing for your IELTS, you might be asked to do other things in a conclusion. But for a 250-word IELTS essay, all we're doing is summarizing our ideas. And if we have an opinion, we have to restate it. Only summarize your main ideas. You don't need to summarize explanations. If you start summarizing your explanations, the problem is your conclusion is going to get really, really long. And again, we just simply don't have enough time to write really long, full-bodied conclusions in an IELTS essay. So let's have a look at today's question. The question we've been looking at for the last couple of weeks is, in many countries, crime rates amongst younger people have been rising. Discuss the causes and solutions for this problem. So you'll notice in this question, I've highlighted the S in causes and the S in solutions. This is because this question wants us to give multiple causes and multiple solutions. That means 2 causes and 2 solutions. In a previous lesson, we came up with a couple of causes and a couple of solutions for this essay. We said the reasons that crime rates amongst young people are rising are there is no employment and young people are influenced by TV. And our solutions to this problem, well, we should improve education. There should be heavy punishments for young offenders. So all we have to do in this essay is summarize our ideas. We don't have an opinion in a cause and solution essay. So we've got 2 causes we're going to have to summarize and 2 solutions. Next, we're going to have a look at the 3 steps we want to go through to answer this type of question. We can follow this structure for our conclusion. This structure can be used for any multiple cause and multiple solution essay. All we're really going to do is follow this structure that we've got here and then insert our 3 different steps. So we're going to mention what the problem is. Now, the problem is dictated in our question statement. We're going to talk about our 2 causes, and these were mentioned in the first main body paragraph. And we're going to talk about our 2 solutions, which were talked about in our second main body paragraph. Therefore, we are summarizing our 2 causes, our 2 solutions. So we're summarizing all the 4 ideas that we had in this essay. You'll notice that in this structure, I've shown the grammatical structures that we need to use to do this. So when we're going to talk about our problem, we are going to use a clause. When we're talking about our causes, we're going to use a clause. And when we're going to talk about our solutions, we're going to use verb phrases. If you're not sure what any of these grammatical structures are, just go to Google, type in clause in English, and it will tell you what a clause is. You can type in verb phrase in English, and it will explain to you what a verb phrase is. Knowing these basic parts of speech will really help you improve your grammar and make sure that you're following good structures throughout your essay. Let's have a look at the problem. So we say here, in conclusion, so we can use this every time. In conclusion, the reasons why, and these words here, you can just remember word for word. And then we have to think about what is the problem. To do this, I'm just rewording what was stated in the question. The number of crimes younger people are committing has increased in a lot of nations. This is the problem that the entire question is based around. We need to make sure that this idea is a clause. That means it has a subject, verb, object. The number of crimes young people are committing. Okay, so all of this is our subject. Has increased. Okay, we have a verb. And in a lot of nations, we have a prepositional phrase here. And actually, in this instance, we don't have an object. We just have a subject and a verb. But that's absolutely fine. That defines a clause. We have a subject and a verb. We're good to go. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this clause that we see in front of us, highlighted in blue, and insert it into this structure here. So that's going to look like, in conclusion, the reasons why the number of crimes younger people are committing has increased in a lot of nations. Okay, that's part one. That's all we had to do. We had to come up with a problem in the form of a clause. And now we're going to move on and we're going to look at our causes. Now, I asked my students for 2 causes for the crime rates increasing amongst younger people. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of these. So this is the very first example that one of my students came up with. Remember, we had these causes already. The causes were no employment and young people are influenced by TV. So all we have to do is take these causes and make them clauses. That means have a subject and a verb, and often an object. So here, there are no employment opportunities for young people. Here we have a clause. This is a clause that is talking about this idea. The second idea, the influence by TV, they have been influenced by TV programs. So here you'll see we have 2 causes, and both of our causes are clauses. Very similar words, very different meaning. Okay, so we've got 2 causes and 2 clauses here. Once again, we're just going to insert these ideas into our structure. You can see where it's highlighted in yellow, you're going to have clause 1 and clause 2. And that is going to look like this. So in conclusion, the reasons why the number of crimes younger people are committing has increased in a lot of nations. We've got this are that, and then we're going to have clause 1. There are no employment opportunities for young people. And we've got clause 2. They have been influenced by TV programs. And this is all you need to do for the second part. So first part was come up with the problem and insert that into the structure. Second part, come up with 2 clauses to summarize your ideas and you insert it into the structure. I'm going to show you another example that a different student came up with here. We're still based off the same causes. This student said, okay, we could word this as there is no employment and a lot of young adults are strongly influenced by violent TV programs. The idea is exactly the same. We're going to input these 2 clauses into this formula. So in conclusion, the reasons why the number of crimes younger people are committing has increased in a lot of nations. So the problem goes first. We've got the are that, as you can see from the structure, and we've got clause 1, there is no employment, and clause 2. A lot of young adults are strongly influenced by violent TV programs. Here's our second example. of part 2 of our structure. We only have one more part left. Now we have to add these solutions. So let's have a look at how we do this. And this is a slightly different structure to other conclusions. The reason is that this structure is going to involve verb phrases. These verb phrases really work well when we're talking about solutions. The two solutions we have are improve education and heavy punishments for young offenders. And the language you can use are, and two viable solutions for this are to, and after this are to, we insert verb phrase 1, we go and verb phrase 2. So looking at our solutions, this first solution is actually a verb phrase, improve education. But heavy punishments for young offenders, this is a noun phrase. There are no verbs in this expression. Therefore, we've got to make sure we have two verb phrases before we put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Again, I ask my students to do this. So I'm going to give you two examples of how they came about creating verb phrases for these two ideas. So our first example was improve education for the younger generation. We can see our verb here is improve, and then we have some extra information. We have an object to our verb. Our second verb phrase here is heavily punish young offenders. In this instance, it's a little bit different. We're not actually starting with a verb because we're actually starting with an adverb. The adverb describes the verb, but this is still a verb phrase. So now we have two verb phrases. Verb phrase 1, improve education for the younger generation. And verb phrase 2, heavily punish young offenders. All we do is input these ideas into the structure. And two viable solutions for this are to. Verb phrase 1, improve education for the younger generation. And verb phrase 2, heavily punish young offenders. And that will be the second part of this student's conclusion. Let's have a look at another example from one of my students. Once again, we have exactly the same solutions that we're going to have a look at, but their verb phrases are a little bit different. The first verb phrase was a bit simpler. They just said improve their education. And the second verb phrase, again, they are starting with an adverb here, and they said strictly punish young offenders. However, once again, like the previous example, we have two verb phrases. All we're going to do is take these verb phrases and insert them into our formula. The two viable solutions for this are to. Verb phrase 1, improve their education, and verb phrase 2, strictly punish young offenders. So wonderful. We've seen in a couple of examples how we can use this structure to look at the causes, and we've had a look at how we can use this structure to summarize our solutions. The only thing that we have left to do is to put our causes and solutions together. So we are combining these three parts. Part 1, remember, was we have to state the problem. Part 2, we state our two causes. And part 3, we state our two solutions. So one example of this would be this conclusion here. In conclusion, the reasons why, now we're going to give our problem as a clause. The number of crimes younger people are committing has increased in a lot of nations. We've got these two connecting words, are that. Now we're going to have clause 1, there is no employment, and we're going to have clause 2, a lot of young adults are strongly influenced by violent TV programs. We're going to have a comma and because we're joining two independent clauses here, and two viable solutions for this are to. We've got verb phrase 1, improve their education, and verb phrase 2, strictly punish younger offenders. And there you have a really well-written conclusion that is really grammatically correct. It summarizes all four of our ideas. It summarizes the two causes that we mentioned earlier in the essay and the two solutions that we mentioned earlier in the essay. We've got a very strict structure that we can follow every single time for this type of question, and we know that we're going to be grammatically correct. Having that knowledge that the structures you're using are grammatically correct will give you extra confidence. It's going to speed up your writing and make you a lot happier while writing your Task 2 essays. Well, I hope you found that really useful. Please try it in your own essays. Good luck to you all in your exam preparation. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and have a great week.